We in the building. Oh, yeah. We back on for round 2. Get them in the building and tell them we live. Oh, yeah. Never have it been made so clear. We're trying to cover both sides of the field. Like say, people don't like the paperwork. Say the paperwork is over. They don't got no more contracts with us and all this. So but for the people that we cover both sides of the field. We trying to get you where you always suited and booted, baby. You suited and booted. Got a couple people going live tonight. Young Elder bring it to you straight and raw. We bring it to you straight, raw, and uncut. The real deal, Holyfield. It don't stop, it don't quit. The real deal, Holyfield, baby. Get them back in the building and tell them we back on. It don't stop. We're going to see if we can get the brother Simeon back on. You got to realize that you the chosen one in this matrix. You're not the artificial person. You're not the all caps guy. Right? You got to realize it. And that what we're doing here. Let me see if brother Simeon is going to get back on. We got more questions. We got some of your questions already in the that y'all put in the chat. We got those questions already lined up for you. Oh yeah, never have it been made so clear. Get them in here. Hold on, let me get that. Let me switch to my computer real quick. Giving brother Simeon time to come back in. We in the building. Let me get that screen shared for you. We getting set up for the brother Simeon to come back on. Oh yeah. I think the next question lined up for the brother was let's see. What the next question was. Ride by if you're coming into the building, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit the bell. If you don't receive a notification from us every day. Right? Okay, yeah, that's the last one we was on right there. We're gonna be dealing with mail, how to do the mail system. For somebody asked about the mail system. They come Hakeem, y'all. He mad about something. He mad about something. Oh yeah, we in the building. Give me a second. All right, yeah, we got the brother Simeon. He about to get on, man. So can we get this address thing pulled up? What is it doing? What is it doing? Oh yeah, we back in the building. We back on. Let me get that chat pulled up. Rob Body, if you're coming into the building, this is part 2 of Unplugging from the Matrix with the brother Simeon. Oh yeah, we back in the building. We back on. Let me get that chat. Oh yeah, got that chat pulled up. Okay.
I do. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, we're gonna get started then. We're gonna start with the first. We right back on. Hold on, let me get this the questions pulled up. Let me get that folder pulled up. We live, we lit in the building. All right, let's blow it up. The next question we have for you, brother. Let me get the question pulled up. Is what is an address and how is it being used for fraud? Address fraud.
Excuse me. An address is a postal designation, a place, a venue in which to send correspondence from one place to another. It is also a construct of the birthright fraud of the property, where they take a subdivision and divide it up into plots, and then assign not just a plot number, but an address to it, which then gives the municipality, corporations, jurisdiction on your property. So, but a bunch of numbers and letters, and the zip code does the same thing. But the zip code is under county regulations, and the address is under city charters. Does that help answer the question anymore?
Yeah. So like what's the diff? Okay, just to add to that, what's the difference between an address and a PO box?
A PO box is a private postal designation at the post office, which is the seat of government. Without a post office, the government can't do commerce, so they establish a post office, which is then run by post office is supposed to be organic to the constitution of said country, where the postal service is private corporation. So you're operating on a lawful construct through a de facto construct. The postal service that allows you to go in and out and deal with people is private corporation. The office itself is constitutional, and so there's some real discrepancies when you're dealing with mail fraud and stuff like that. One's private at the post office and one is at a independent location.
Okay, all right. So it's somebody says it's a big deal with the post office. A main reason how they like stealing our Native American rights or something connected to the address. It's a real big fraud going on with it. What we in the mail. Go ahead.
The address is a construct of numbers assigned to individual plots of land under a subdivision, which was given a land grant. But a land grant divided up into subdivisions, take the subdivisions and divide it up by dividing it up and selling it. It breaks the land grant under fraud and allows them to divide all the property up and sell it, and then put it under the construct of private property of the de facto corporation of the United States and register it as rental property or paying tenant property until the mortgage is satisfied, then rental property under a trust, turned into a bond, sold on the stock market. So it's a way to usurp your allodial title, which you never produced or asked about or even conceived of unless told about it, and puts it back in their jurisdiction. You don't own the property you're renting. Address allows them to do that. It also allows the municipal agents of the local policy enforcement, known as POPO, police, to come on your property and continue to practice unsanctioned operations and harass you and everything else on your land because you gave them jurisdiction. Technically, you should not have an address on your property. It would behoove you or be wise to put a pole out front and a mailbox. Put an address on that. That is the address for your postal designation. Doesn't give them jurisdiction in the house. You don't have anything posted on the house and gave them jurisdiction. It's in the contract when you sign the deed. Read the deed, read the fine print, get out a magnifying glass. As a Moor, what we're doing now is a lot of legal and lawful stuff that we won't be doing forever. But studying it and operating in it, one, destroys the trust or the bond that are being traded on the market that shuts down the corporation that's your enemy to get them off your land. Two, it's training in principles that you will need to use later on to run your own republic or your own kingdom or your own planet as you grow from this human experience to what you really are. A god, a generator, operator, destroyer. Created in the image of the creator. You're an ember of the fire of light, just like you're sparking the sun. Everything that you're doing is to prepare you for other things. But it's necessary to study these things now, and you need some tools. Most important tool, Black's Law Dictionary, Etymology Dictionary, an American Dictionary, a thesaurus, and the other one I can't think of, it's like a collegiate language dictionary or something, English collegiate language dictionary. Like I say, eventually I'll have this stuff written down in some format where we can send it to anybody who wants to get some of this information. The information I give is also available from other people out here. There's some great sources. Young Elder, there's House of Reawakening Minds, there's Taj Tariq Bey, there's enforcetheconstitution.com. And I can't think of the brother's name right now. Calls everybody Naga. It's a brother that's dynamic with this information.
Are you talking about Dupatir?
He's got the Melanin Handbook. He's got a protocol for for police stops. I can't think of his name, but hopefully it'll come to me before I'm done. But you have to study language. An etymology dictionary is called etymon, or the egg or the seat of a word, the root of a word and where it came from and what it originally meant. We were taught to count. We were taught to recognize colors. We were taught to spell, and we were taught to write in cursive, although I think the new generation doesn't learn to write in cursive. So when you sign your name, you're signing a curse, saying you're someone that you're not. And when you deal with these constructs, they are spells. So if you don't understand what a spell is, you speak a word, it's a vibration, causes molecules to manifest, and these words control your life. You think it means this when it means that. The English language is a subversive language, purposely reorchestrated to have a double meaning. He who speaks with forked tongue. Go to court, do you understand? That's a legal term. Means do you not do you comprehend? Do you submit to my authority and agree to pay compensation? The word black comes from the word black, bleak, bleach, or to lighten, or to make shiny. So I'm saying hello to all my kinfolk all my relatives, my clan, but not my family. Those are corporate entities, stateless people. And I'm saying hello to all my white people. I see white people. White is a status in law, belongs to us. You got to learn what these words mean so that when you speak them or think them, you create a reality around you and you don't cast spells that encapsulate yourself. Everything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law because you don't know what the hell you're saying. Remember the Tower of Babel. They split us up and got to speak in Babel. Tbond is the most important dictionary you can read. Look up the brackets. What does a word mean? Where did it come from? Is it Old English? Is it Latin? Is it German? Is it Nubian? The word water comes from something more like wawa, which means the canoe. But the Europeans thought when they said that, they were talking about the water. So now we call it water. Find out what your language really means in its original intent. You have two forms of language, connotative and denotative. Con, like a con man. Common usage. Definitions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, common usage. That ain't what it means. Denotative, to denote or make a mark. The original intent, when you make that vibration, what does that word mean? Because that's what it's going to manifest. Michael Jackson, I'm bad, I'm bad. Yeah, look what happened to him. We ain't nothing but niggas. Look how we live. Those words have power, you cast spells. So learn the language. Tbond dictionary is the most important dictionary you can get. Start studying what the definition is and where a word came from, what language it originally came from. Because our language is an amalgamation or a collection of many languages. It's a trade language from Arabic to German to Spanish. It's all mixed in together. Learn the language, then you can learn the constructs of the principles of law. The principles are simple. Get the principles, you can understand the application. Principle tells you how to solve a problem. If you know what addition is, all I gotta do is add numbers. It's easy to add numbers. All I gotta do is subtract numbers. It's easy to subtract numbers. The principle is addition or subtraction. Get more advanced when you get into law, multiplication. That's just fancy adding. Subtraction, division, fancy subtraction. So the principle is what you want to learn. You want to learn principles of morality? Study the Bible, get a red letter edition. Everything Jesus said is a principle. If you understand the story, it's a principle. It's not the story that counts, it's a principle. Anything that you've been exposed to gave you principle foundations to work forward from. So don't cast out the baby with the bathwater on your past. As you grow as a Moor, use the principles that you were taught, and that will take you where you need to go. All right, I'm done. Question?
All right, next question. What is the difference between religion and state? Is that separate or are they working it together?
Well, religion is a misnomer for most people. Religion is spiritual aspects of a culture. What we've been presented with mostly is dogma, not religion. But as the dogma is presented, the religious and the state are one. Religion and state have been one since 300 AD when Constantine made the Constantinian Creed that created Christianity, that is a, what do they call it, social engineering construct. They use the 4 pillars of society, religious, political, economic, and social, to control the masses. And if you look at the chessboard, it gives you a lot of clues. I played chess as a child, got my butt kicked by my dad, no mercy. Played in school, never said I was great, but played fairly competitive, learned a lot, and was probably 50-something years old before it occurred to me one day to look up what the names of the chess pieces mean. So everybody knows what a pawn is. And I'm gonna get back to the question. A pawn is the peon, the last piece, the expendable one you can get rid of. You can sacrifice him, but he can be a useful tool. And when he gets to the other side of the board, he can turn into a king, a queen, or whatever piece you want to replace. Then you have, we're gonna go from the bottom to the top. You got the king. The king runs the game. The king can't be killed or captured. When the king gets captured, game's over. King ain't going down like that. He's throwing the board. King runs everything, moves one space, time, any direction he wants, and can't be captured. And when he is captured, the game's over. Then you had a queen. Queen's the most powerful thing on the board, except she can die. The king can't. She can move in any direction, many spaces she wants. That's the womanly wiles. They can control you with that. It can seduce you. And it doesn't necessarily mean a female, it just means seduction and that energy and those principles. Then you have the bishop. The bishop is the church. We can't get you with authority. We can't get you with the seduction. We get you with the religion, which is doctrine. You've been taught to look externally for a God that is inside you. The answers are within. The principles are taught outside you, and you've been taught to look outside of you for what is within you. That's religion. The bishop, after the bishop, you got the knight. The knight is the state. That's your government, your police, your military, et cetera, et cetera. So you got the knight and the bishop all on the same team. State and the church are one. Religion is used. I mean, you go to Christian church, you go to Catholic church, to tell you, give whatever your heart desires, but they will read the scripture. Shall any man rob God? How you gonna rob God? You ain't got no money anyway. Can't pay with the debtors know. But they'll tell you, you need to pay your tithe and offering. All right, that's a tax to the church. Church state of one. And they tell you obey the laws of the land. Laws of the land is Constitution, the treaty, which they're violating all the time. So the church and state are part of political, economic, social construct to regulate people. The last part on the chessboard is the rook. Played chess for years and years and years. What's the rook? The rook is like the jester, the buffoon, the deceiver. That's the devil, the liar, the propaganda, whatever else is in your world construct. And they use these principles through the church and the state, or religion and government to control the masses. Because remember, government is governing the mental. Well, who controls your mind? How George Clinton said. George said, how do you say it? Mind your thoughts, because somebody wants your mind. I forget the rest of it, but if you're not cognitively conscious of what you think, then someone else will teach you what to think. State and the church are one, and don't let nobody tell you it isn't. They're all theologians and magi that run them at the top. They all had the same training. They're all Masons, but practice in the dark side, most of them. Church state of one. Hope that answered that question. Next.
All right. The next question we have for you, brother, is, okay, what is a signature and how is it important as your signature? And how do you sign a contract and not be obligated to it?
Signature is simply a glyph that you put on a implement. You can put it on like a piece of paper. It's your handwriting. It is cursive. It is not printed, so it's cursive, back to that spell. It represents you and acknowledges whatever that construct is offering, which is usually a contract. That's what your signature is. You have a signature and you have an autograph. They're not the same thing. There are ways to do a signature and not be binding in the contract, but you also have to take great consideration when you do that as to are you committing fraud when you do that? Because full disclosure, meeting of minds and exercising good faith. Did you exercise in good faith? However, you know most contracts are signing a fraud, and you have the right to discontinue that contract at any time once you realize it's fraud. So kind of arbitrary whether you are exercising good faith or not. The only way to get the car is to play the game. You got to sign the contract. Okay, fine. Lost my train of thought again. I do apologize.
Yeah. So when you sign, I heard some people say they put the UCC-1308 next to their name. I heard people put authorized representative. I heard people when they sign under the express, they mark a line through their signature. Some people just say they scribble scrabble. So like, what's your perspective on that?
There are many ways to do that. You can put a colon in your name, a colon, 2 dots in your name. You can do an autograph, which is different than your signature. You have a signature that's, on other documents, driver's license, that and the other. And now you did this autograph thing. You can put all rights reserved, which usually refers to UCC, or you say all treaty rights reserved, which is the most important thing you can put on. Secondly, you can put on all treaty rights and uniform, not uniform, put UCC, Uniform Commercial Code. I think it's 308. You used 1-308. You used to have to read through section 1 dash. I forget what it used to be because they changed it about maybe 4 or 5 years ago, 6 years ago. But Uniform Commercial Code, section 1 subsection 308. That's what.
Yeah, all rights reserved. All rights reserved. Go ahead.
The right to change the conditions of the contract at any time. But more importantly, you want to make sure you reserve your treaty rights. So all rights reserved includes the treaty because it says all rights. But I like to say treaty rights and Uniform Commercial Code. You also can just put your name in a box. You can put it in brackets. It makes it separate from the contract. You can make sure you take a credit card, driver's license, something, and cross out the dotted line that says authorized representative, which you are, but you're not. Unless you're a holder in due course, you are not the authorized representative. You're the debtor. You can sign your name outside of their little jurisdiction place. They put a line X here, you sign underneath it. So there are many ways to do that. You can sign your name in all small letters. So there's many ways to apply that. Remember, it's about principle. What is the principle, and how do I deal with the principle of what is the contract? And a signature is just simply acknowledgement of who you are, but it is a standard form that you use as a signature as opposed to an autograph. That's all I know.
That was good. That was really good. The next question we have for you, brother. We cracking heads and twisting caps. Be sure if you're coming in and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. If you don't receive a notification from us every day, come back and check with us. We dropping bangers, y'all get the gang. All right, we got the next question for you, brother.
Yes,
the
sir.
next question is, what is a T-bond?
A T-bond is a treasury bond. It is a construct called a stock, which is an investment concept used in the trading market. We call it the stock market. People buy and sell and invest in companies. They make a profit. They pay back into the bond, and the T-bond is a treasury bond, which comes from your birth certificate, marriage certificate, driver's license, registration of your car, registration of your property, excuse me, and anything else they can find to fraudulently tie into their fictitious construct that is yours by birthright. They can turn into a financially or fiduciary implement. They take everything and monetize it. That's what a T-bond is. They monetize something and put it on the market. Say they own it and trade it. Fraud. It's some bullshit.
Fraud.
Fraud.
Hey, so we got let me blow it up a little bit more. All right, so let me get within these within that one question. So the T-bonds is a contract that they making to sell human resource to other countries, right? So what do the other countries give them in return for this human resource? Do they give them like physical money, or do they give them resources, or they exchanging resource for resource? Go ahead.
Understand the principle of the construct. Under the Roman democracy, not the republic, a leveraged lending system uses an external monetary fiduciary manager. Short and skinny. You got outside bank, corruption, like, you know, use a I don't want to say it that way. The Federal Reserve, the IMF, and other financial institutions are the managers for this financial transfers. So what they do is they take these T-bills and whatnot, and they give it to the Federal Reserve or these institutions, and then they lend money to that country at interest. They take the value, you got a bond worth $1 million, we give you $999,000 for that bond, because we charge you interest for that bond. We charge you to print, and we give you dollar bills. We print dollars, we charge you to print them, we charge you for the bills, and we charge you interest. And we always make sure we charge you more money than you borrow, so you can never finish paying the debt. Then the countries only pay the debt on the interest. They never pay the debt. It's fraud. But in the meantime, these private financial institutions get these so-called countries to pay them in silver and gold. So all your country's wealth goes to these private corporations, which are de facto, which are private, which are usually hybrid humans backed by dirty Moors. So that's how your monetary system works is they get you to borrow fake money and you pay them with gold. You wind up with this junk and they get rich and you wind up poor. And that's what your T-bonds are. Treasury bonds, junk bonds. There's another name for them, which are usually people. Then the other ones are commodities, which, you know, could be anything. People are called chattel. Cattle with a H. They're also called youths. I forget how it's spelled, but a youth is a type of sheep. So when they say youth, are they talking about youth, a chattel property human, or youth sheep?
I think you did a good job. You want to go to the next question?
Sure.
All right, that's good. I think you covered a lot on that, but we're getting these questions out here so people can start. You can go do your own research on these questions that we ask, because these questions that we ask is things that you should know by now. You should know these things, have an idea of what they are, so you won't be getting fingered no more, man. We tired of getting fingered, man. You know, so so you want to take these questions down while we're putting them in the archive, so that we can people can kind of get an idea. You go do your own research. You can get more research. You don't gotta just take what we telling you. You can go get more shit on it. Go write some book, get some books on it. Study it in depth. Figure out what it is. Help us out. Put us in the game as a family.
Yeah.
All right. So the next question is, and this is right here is a good one. What is the difference between criminal court? And you might have broke this down already a little bit, but what is the difference between criminal court, civil court, and federal court?
Nothing. They're all fraud.
Yeah.
Civil court generally is a private dispute that does not involve a crime, military, or religion in general. State court is under the construct of the political organization operating in your region, considering itself government that is de facto, that uses statutory law under the construct of a corporate constitution, which is usually a charter, for the purpose of doing commerce and birthright thefts, presenting itself as a jurisprudence court of law. Jurisprudence meaning proper law, in line with divine law and divine with natural law, which is basically common fucking sense. All right, it wasn't yours, you stole it. They was alive, now they dead. Some things are just common sense. They use a construct that's outside of that. It's state law. Federal law is a jurisdiction that sometimes supersedes or oversees state application. Federal law can apply in any state, in all states. State law only applies in its particular state. So if you're a Mormon and you're in Wisconsin or whatever, you can have 5 wives. You move to Ohio and they're gonna lock your white ass up. I mean, I'm sorry, your black ass up. Because I see white people and they're on the phone right now. White is a status in law and that belongs to us Moors. Or any other living entity in their natural land claiming their nationality. Except there's a problem for some people on this planet because they don't know where they came from. I know I'm going a little bit off. I'm doing a little more just to answer the question. There's a little more science behind it, but I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, you're doing good. You're doing good. Whatever the ancestors might lead you to say, we need it all down and put down off up in this joint, man. You know what I'm saying? Right. So we want whatever you want to say, go ahead. We got the mic, brother. So we go to the next question. All right. The next question we have for you, brother, is why are we paying taxes? And why do they hunt us down and beat us down because we want to pay tax? Go ahead.
I have absolutely no idea. No. Why are we paying taxes? Because from the time you came out the womb, everybody told you you're supposed to. You never read the treaty. The construct of the Constitution says Congress has the right to levy taxes, and it can only levy taxes on federal employees and income. If you're not a federal employee, you're not taxable. If you're not collecting revenues and finances, securities from investments, you don't have an income. You've been tricked, hoodwinked, bamboozled, run amok, lied to, fooled into paying taxes voluntarily. Because it says on the form, most people use a 1099 because they got a job. They usually sign it. It says, please sign here. Amount owed of income, 0. unless you wages, tips, and earnings, and that, you can write the IRS, send them a letter. You can get this letter notarized. You can send it postal, what do they call it? Postal, there's a postal registration, not certified, but there's another postage. Postage, send it to them where it has to be signed. It tells exactly what time it was signed and who signed it, that he received it. And ask them to please send you the code that says wages, tips, and earnings are taxable under federal code in congruency with the organic constitution for the United States. And they'll never answer your question. Send in an affidavit form that they have 30 days to comply. And they try and sue them for an answer. No, they're not. You're paying taxes because you don't know any better. And you're funding your own enslavement. You are in a POW camp on your own property. You went from the plantation to the plant. They used to make you work and not pay you shit, put a half a roof over your head and some scrubby clothes. Now they pay you enough to buy a half roof over your head, some scrubby clothes, and when you're done, you're still broke. You're a slave. You're paying taxes, but you don't know no better. Ignorance is not bliss. Where's the contract between me and thee? Do I have a contract with the United States to pay taxes? Oh, I signed the papers when I got that job. How come I didn't write exempt, and give them affidavit saying this don't apply to me? Maybe I should have given them a green card since I'm a foreign national working in the United States. What is the construct in which you're operating? That's why you're paying taxes. I didn't know. It's an expensive lesson.
So the 1040 forms, when we go on a job, right? And or when we set up something where we're gonna get paid from a certain corporation, they make us set up these 1040 forms, and that's like making a contract with the IRS, ain't it?
Yeah, it's a contract with the IRS. Why are you signing a 1040? I've never worked for anybody in my life. I've always told people, I have signed those forms, but I've always told people, I'm an independent contractor. I work for me. This is an at-will, fire me anytime job. I can be a team player and give you my 8 hours worth of work, but I work for me. You're just like a private, this is a private contract. So you should be negotiating private contract 1099 with anybody you're dealing with. And really, 1099 doesn't apply to you. You're a foreign national. Taxes apply to U.S. citizens. A citizen is more state property. That's not a more. That's not sanguineous. That's not connection to the land by blood. That's a corporate entity and a fiction that doesn't exist except in your mind. That's why you're paying taxes. It's just foolishness that you didn't know any better. But of course, you know, I'm not a lawyer, and my disclaimer is I didn't tell you not to pay your taxes. I just said, prove that I owe them. Where's the statute and code? Taxes on wages, tips, and earnings. But if you got a bank account and that he's in contract, you agree to pay taxes. Did you reserve your right? Did you send an affidavit that says, I object to this clause? Did you cross it out, put your initials on it when you read the contract? That's why you're paying taxes. You don't know any better. When we start Edomiting our own people instead of educating them in their system and teaching them at home and in our own temples, a temple on a pair of glasses is the place between the lens or the frame at the front and your ear. Temple's the place between your eye and your ear, where your brain is. A temple's a house of learning. They turn into a worship house. A worship house. Worship. Why is you in there worshiping when you should be learning. Temple's a house of learning. Study. Study yourself, study law, study everything. And these answers are principles. Everything's principle. Next question.
I got you. Let's do it. The next question we have for you, brother.
Please deposit 1/4 into the machine.
The next question we have for you, brother, is okay, we got that. Boom, boom. We talked. I'm gonna go over to what is the IRS. We already broke that down. 1040 forms. Okay, what are the rules that the judge is bound by other than the Constitution?
The judge is bound by the construct of the Constitution, except he's not, because he's operating in a de facto court with a maritime banner that they call a flag with yellow tassels on it, which is a military tribunal. So he's bound to commit fraud. He's also supposedly bound by the construct of the Constitution, the venue in which he's operating. Is it circuit court? Is it appellate court? State court? Is it Supreme Court? Is it federal court? Is it small claims court? Is it probate court? Is it friend of the court? Is it traffic court? Which venue is he operating in? And under that venue, what are the constructs of the charter of that court? That court has a charter and gives regulations on what they can adjudicate over and not adjudicate over. They also have the state constitution and the state legislation. All these things regulate that individual, and the only things that's supposed to regulate them is the organic constitution, which you have to enforce by bringing it into the de facto court, by bringing up their sworn oath and putting it on the record. First in writing, and then if you have to do an oral presentation, you show up in court in a concept called propria persona, Latin for proper person. You go in propria persona. Their assumption you're in pro se, and they will pro se cute you for some money. You go in propria persona, Sir Juris, on special appearance, because technically the court cannot talk to a living entity. You can only deal with corporations. So you've got a special appearance in the court to interact with them. You're really presenting yourself. You cannot represent yourself in court. Anyone who represents himself in court is a fool, because you can only present yourself. You can't represent. So special appearance, go to court, and you deal with the judge and the principles of law under the venue in which they're operating, which is going to be constructed by the state and the legislation, because they use statutory code and they use statutory code from the case decisions or appellate decisions and Supreme Court decisions, and they use, forget the other one. Sometimes they use legislation, but it's all fraud. So you have to be aware of where you're operating, and then you can navigate it. These are simple questions with profound answers, or profound questions with simple answers. And really they're simple answers. They principle. It's easy to understand. It's a long-worded explanation that makes it sound complicated, but it's not. It's all very simple. Simple principles.
So pretty much, I would say, so pretty much everything they doing is is like fraud. It's connected with fraud.
They are a corpse oration, a corpse in action. I see dead people. You're dealing with dead people, vampires, living off your energy. They're dead. Everything they do is fraud. They don't exist. They're a figment of your imagination. They don't have jurisdiction. They don't really exist. That's colonial powers. Unum sanctum operation, doctrine of discovery, has nothing to do with you. So how do you navigate that? How do you stand on, I'm over here and you're over there. I'm playing life and they're playing Monopoly. We're playing two different games. And that's where you have to get your mind. These are two different games. Every time they come to you, you look at them like, what is you talking about? I don't play Monopoly. I'm playing life. That's how you got to have it in your mind. It's that simple. It's a simple principle. Is it Monopoly or is it life? Then you can navigate all of it. Every question, you can ask this question. Which jurisdiction does this apply to?
Mm-hmm.
Two jurisdictions. Two United States. I remember when I first was learning this, my grandmother would say, "Oh, my head spins." I mean, my head swims. I used to be like, what the, two United States? What are you talking about? There's two jurisdictions. You got land. Look at it, it's 3 layers. You got land. You got natural law, which you operate in, sits above the land, it's connected to the land. It's kind of like the grass on the land. Then you got the clouds up there. That's the corporate jurisdiction. Well, you ain't living up there. What's it got to do with you? They yelling down from the crowds, you owe me money. You're like, we ain't got no money. What's wrong with the people up there? It's really how you got to look at it. When you can see the principle that there's two different things, all this is easy to navigate. Everything they do is fraud. So that's the first thing you got to look at. Oh, they lying again. Let's see what lie they tell her today. And you gotta have some humor with the way you react. I loved it when I was raising my offspring. I used to always bring up the beginning of the Bambi cartoon. The beginning of the Bambi cartoon is awesome because this little deer comes out, hopping around, and it turns its head, looks up, and it speaks. And you're like, God damn, it's a deer speaking. And it says, what are we going to do today? And it's just all excited, like, yeah, that's how you got to look at it. You're like, oh, they lying again. Turn to comedian, make a joke out of it. You're like, oh, let's see how they lying. Because they don't know, they're dead. They don't know how to do anything else. The truth is not in them. There's no truth. There's jurisprudence belongs to you, and then there's legalese, which is going to cost you some money, some time, or some lockup. It's all about stealing your energy. Well, it's simple stuff, but it's elaborate, but it's simple. Next question.
All right. The next question that we have for you, brother. It's about to get deep. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. All right. Should we waive our rights in court?
Hell yeah. Absolutely not, unequivocally.
Oh yeah. Oh, my bad. Another part to that question is how should we waive our rights in court? And are we waiving our rights in court without even knowing it? Nubians.
All right. The court is a bank. It's also the clerk. When you enter the bank, it's set up like a ship. As soon as you pass that bar, you know, they got the little bar with the split in it. You go through that, and then they got the podiums for the attorneys of the bar association, and then they got everybody in their box. The bailiffs in a box, the stenographers in a box, the magistrate is in a box, which actually makes them unable to talk to each other, but you didn't know that. Everybody's in a box, but once you cross that bar, you're on their ship. So the minute you cross that bar and you didn't say that you're an agent for the fiction, or you give your name, title of nobility, and state that you're an appropriate persona, Sir Juris, here on special appearance to see about the matter, not what they've called you there for. The matter is issues of law, status, jurisdiction, and adjudication. That's the only thing you're there for, to address. Do you have status to adjudicate? Do you have status to have jurisdiction to adjudicate over this matter? Maybe. Do you have status to give you jurisdiction to adjudicate over me? No. Period. Walk in the courtroom, that's what you're dealing with. Period. Status, no jurisdiction, story over.
So in the court, I noticed in the courtroom when I go to the ticket thing, and we know that criminal court is illegal. Hold on, what is this? It's a background. All right, hold on. Okay, all right. So I know, like I noticed in the court, they is it's like like cattle to slaughter, man, because it's like they call your name, they say, okay, all the A last name, people with the last name A come up. So like the Andersons.
They never called your name. They never called your name. They called the name of the fiction. They're dealing with the trust. The SQV fiction corporate entity that has a name just like yours in all capital letters, and you should have never stood up and acknowledged it. You see how you let them call the name 5, 6 times, you'd be like, excuse me, sir. No, I'm sorry. Excuse me, dude. I'm the agent for the fiction that you just called. That you use that. What y'all call that name? Nomen. Noam is not that fiction. Yeah, I'm the agent for that fiction. But you don't stand up and say I'm he, because you're lying. Because the capital, your name's not spelled with all capital letters. That's how it's spelled on your gravestone. A dead entity. So they never called your name. You gave them jurisdiction when you crossed the bar. You gave them jurisdiction when you recognized them. You gave them jurisdiction when they said, oh, sign this before you go in there. You just entered a contract. What you sign that for? I'm signing nothing. You want me to see in there? I'll go in there. But I ain't signing shit. You can't be compelled to perform, which is fine. I ain't in no contract. Okay, I'll sign it. All rights reserved to object. And I move that we dismiss due to lack of jurisdiction. You want me to sign it? That's what I'm gonna sign with. Anytime you go into court, you gotta comprehend who you are, who they are, how to stand on your square, on that paper, on those principles that are written, on those glyphs that you sign. You sign something, your name is your bond. Your word is your bond. That's all you got. So you better know what you're signing. They don't have jurisdiction. You go in the courtroom, why are you in contract? You should be objecting. I'm only here to see about the matter. Jurisdiction, status, jurisdiction, and adjudication. You don't have that. Time to dismiss. Period.
That's fire. I think you hit that right on the nail right there. All right, the next question we have for you, brother. We busting heads, we cracking wigs, we split dogs. All right. We'll come back to that one because the affidavit. So you want to? It's like this is the 27th question. We almost done. Say, how do you write an affidavit to courts to dismiss fraudulent charges?
With a pencil, a pen, a crayon. An affidavit is a sworn statement, contract to thyself, by thyself, of thyself, acknowledged by someone else. So you're writing a sworn statement and you want to find the principles of law, statutes or codes, or treaties that they have violated. And you want to write point for point what they have violated and give them 3 business days, 30 days, whatever you want, to address those issues and satisfy them with jurisprudence under the construct of the treaties, constitutions, and etc. And the fact that you are a foreign national, which involves the foreign national policy, which you need to read, and you sign it and you have it notarized or have it signed by 3 sovereigns or 3 individuals. Sometimes you can get away with that. They really should be sovereigns. But once it's notarized or signed by 3 witnesses, that affidavit is a legal construct that, if not answered in 30 days, becomes a binding contract against the person to whom you sent it. And then you might look up some other federal statutes and codes and etc., explaining the recovery or compensatory damages that they will pay for not responding to your affidavit. And you bypass the magistrate, you bypass the court, everything's on the affidavit, and it puts a lien on them. And that's how you answer the court. Every time. Paperwork. Study paperwork. What's principle? They don't exist. It's fraud. How do I address the fraud? The principles never change. I don't care what the issue is. The principles are the same. And we weren't taught to think by principles. We were taught to deal with our feelings. Feelings are awesome. Feelings are part of the human psyche, that when you have a thought and you vibrate it with an emotion, it causes an implosion in the heart of a vortex that causes things to manifest. It's how you operate. You have to get into some metaphysics and some cosmology and some all kinds of stuff to study to get to there. But you operate on emotion. That's awesome. But it don't belong in court. Court is letter specific and it's bullshit. Did I answer the question or did I sidestep?
Yeah, you went in on that, man. You hitting us upside the head. You cracking down, you splitting caps. You twisting caps, you splitting wigs, man. We got it. We in the game right now. All right. So what should we do with money since it's fiat currency? That's the next question, brother.
Save it and spend it. No. Right now, what you should be doing is, if you can afford it, start accumulating silver and gold and putting it somewhere where you can get to it. And understand they got technology to find your silver and gold, but put it somewhere where you can get to it. We don't know exactly how the economic fall and transfer is going to happen. We don't know if they're going to have days of darkness and poverty and empty stores, or if they're going to provide. You know, Big Mama's going to provide. I can't give you all the details. I don't know, but the Constitution, which is a principal construct adopted by the colonists from the Nubian principles, from the Moorish nations that we now call them. They weren't always called Moors everywhere, but the moral constructs that were used around the world before what we call the Western or European Constantinian process enveloped the earth. Those principles are simple, they're easy. Study the ancient principles. And then when you see the construct they give that's opposing it, it'll become obvious. One of the things I studied, and I haven't studied enough of it, is some of Noble Drew Ali's teachings. I still haven't read a lot of the papers that are supposed to come with it, but one of the things they tell you to read is Circle 7. I can tell everybody, read the Circle 7, it is uneventful. What I mean by that is, I read it and looked at it and said, this is the most inept and useless piece of paper I've ever seen in my life. I've had toilet paper that had better reading in it. No offense to Noble Drew, honor to Noble Drew. The answers in the Circle 7 are in the pictures. The glyphs tell you everything. All about principles. Study the principles and you'll answer your own questions. Next question.
All right, brother. The next question we have for you. We going live. We lit right now. Everybody, we're gonna get to some of your questions in the chat in just a second, because we almost done with the list that the questions that I thought they'll be good to have in the archive, so when we can play it back and listen and study on every question. You know what I'm saying? I'm actually gonna put all these questions in the book. I'm gonna take what Simeon said, the new research that he's gonna do on it, and all the other research that we already got on it, and it's gonna be in the Hustler's Manual Part 2.
Power to the people.
We might just do a question and answer book on just a question and answer book. Me and Simeon, we might do just a question and answer book on this stuff. And pretty much I got the book already because I could download the transcripts from this video, and I can use that as the book. So we're gonna work on that, Simeon. We're gonna get together on that. All right. So the next question we have for you is, what is UCC and how does it work? Universal Commercial Code.
Universal Commercial Code implemented in 56 or something like that. You got to go back to me. I would start with what Noble Drew Ali did when he registered the Moorish Science Temple and bankrupted the United States by obtaining land back and having them acknowledge the debt to the indigenous people. After that, that was like 1911, 15, somewhere around there. They did an official bankruptcy in 1933. I'm sorry. I'm going somewhere with this, but I gotta have you repeat the question. I'm losing part of my thought. There's something in the
Okay, so like, what is the UCC and how does it work? Like, like say you was going into a Noble Drew Ali thing, and like around 1930, 1932, they filed for bankruptcy on the land, and then they had to do the human resource. Go ahead.
Actually started too late. It actually starts way back in 1861, 62. When they adjourned, 65, I think it was, they adjourned Congress sin diasia, S-I-N-D-I-A, sin and die. See it in your Bible, the little book's called the Bible, sin and die. They ended it without a day, or they ended it without parliamentary procedure. They did not set up another meeting. That ended the organic United States, or the treaty between the foreign nationals, colonists, 13 colonies, and the indigenous people of the land. They then in 1871, Organic Act of Congress, where they created a corporate United States. And then forward to 1933, they created the birth certificates and everything else on this Reconstruction and pledged the people for the finances. All this has to do with the answer, but I keep losing my train of thought. Repeat the question one more time.
What is the UCC, Universal Commercial Code, and how does it work?
When they came off of the United States Organic, 1865, 1871, they kind of operated still the same way. In 1933, they went way off the beaten path because they changed the education system and the economic system in a way from a morality system in 1900 to a usury system that by the time we got to 1950, there was like, there's no morality, there's no construct. So the world was like, we can't handle this. So they came with the Uniform Commercial Code as a, what's the word I want? The Uniform Commercial Code is a regulatory concept and agency for trade around the world in lieu or lack of constitutional moral principles. That's what it is. It's basically to slap you on the ass or on the wrist when you're out there fucking people over. That's what it's for, but it is a de facto agency. Is a tool in the toolbox you can use, but that didn't come from the farm. Always remember the tools you bought from the farm. You're in the Wizard of Oz. So it's a tool in your toolbox. It's kind of like going into the Matrix. You can have all kinds of stuff on the other side when you go into the Matrix. But when you go back home, the tools might not be there. Uniform Commercial Code is to regulate them. But the best way for you to do it is as a national by enforcing the Treaty of Friendship and Peace, the J Treaty, the Declaration of Human Rights, the Declaration of Human Rights of Indigenous People, the Declaration of Human Rights of a Genome, Declaration of Human Rights of a Child, against the Unum Sancta operations and the Secret Treaty of Verona and the Doctrine of Discovery. That's where you want to operate. Those are the things you need to study and learn to get you where you need to be. And then everything gonna change, you're gonna need it no more, but the training will be very useful.
We got a couple more questions, then we'll take a couple questions from the audience, then we'll get out. We got about 18 minutes and we're gonna be off, and this will be the you want to show the brother Simeon some love, we posted this Cash App in the links. If you want to show me some love, we already posted the Cash App in the links. We got another quick. Hey, we're about to get greasy right here, brother Simeon. We're about to get greasy. All right,
yes, sir.
This is a greasy one. We got about 3 more questions. How is the bill collector fraud? By selling your contract to someone without your agreement, to the bill collector. Like say if you make a deal with AT&T and then they sell it, their contract without your agreement, how is that fraud? And how do you get out of it? How you dispute that on your credit?
Like you said, we getting greasy because they all up in your kitchen. What they doing in your kitchen? You got a contract with Ma Bell. You ain't got no contract with this third party interloper. So all you got to do is say, show me the contract. Now, what you need to know is by the time the third party interloper got the contract, the original contract has gone to court and has been satisfied. When the original debt creditor sues you, they sell the commodity or the security to the third party for a fee. Let's say you owe them $1,000. They sell it to them for $400. They hope to collect $600 and make a $200 profit. The original entity or lender or creditor then writes off the balance of 60% on their taxes. They balance their book, the debt has been satisfied. So now you don't owe the original creditor or the secondary creditor or anything, but you don't have a contract with them. You want to pay them, give you sweat equity and commit fraud, give them fiat currency, feel free. You can also leave some money out of my door or go to the casino. It's all the same. Your money go be gone. You don't owe them no money. You don't have a contract. That simple. Produce a contract. However, there may be a clause in the contract that says we can sell this loan if you default on it to somebody later on and you didn't reserve your rights. Therefore, you're still in contract. But they lent you credit that your signature created. It's all fraud. Back to the principles. They lent you what? Who lent you what? A dead entity? And if you don't pay them, how are they harmed? Where's the crime? The principles. It's all corporate. It's all dead. I see dead people.
Hey, so basically, sometimes niggas when niggas go and get niggas be so excited to spend their money and get in these contracts, they never read the contract. So you go in there and sign for a cell phone, and you in the contract with these people, but you didn't read where it says they're gonna sell if you defraud on the contract, they're gonna sell it to somebody else. So is that happening to the Tbonds? If America defraud on a contract, they selling that shit to somebody else, but nobody else want to buy it? Go ahead.
That's exactly what's going on. Nobody's buying U.S. Tbonds. The U.S. dollar, the last place is being traded. Right now, from my comprehension, and I could be in error, there's 3 or 4 places in Canada and a place in Iraq or somewhere where you can spend the U.S. dollar. You can't spend the U.S. dollar nowhere right now. Ain't nobody taking it. It's worthless. The U.S. dollar is the oil trading currency. They've been changing that for 10 years, trying to trade in silver, gold, euros. There's 11 African countries that came off the ruble. There's 6 or 7 of them that are now on a gold standard. So they're doing trade on anything but the U.S. dollar, which is fraud. It's not backed by anything. It is a debtor's note of the private corporation of the lending institutions of the financial industry known as, the IMF, the Federal Reserve, etc. There's all kinds of institutions. All part of the Dow and the NASDAQ. It's all part of the same machine. It's just one vicious circle of fraud. And every question should lead you back to that. Where's the fraud? Where's the jurisdiction? Where's the authority? What venue is it operating? There's real simple questions to ask. I like a lot of principles. I was raised as a Christian. God damn it. I was raised as a Christian in the Catholic Church, studied in the Protestant Church. Catholics consider anything not Christian. Christian, not Catholic, Protestant. And I studied principles. And there's principles that are so simple that you learn going to church that if you don't make them religious and mystery, will help you. And most African Americans were exposed to the church, brought up in the church, or heard of the church. If those are principles you were taught, use them. They help you a lot. But don't get into the religious doctrine. Belief means to lie to yourself. It comes from the word belie. It comes from the word Beelzebub. You go to the front of the dictionary and look up italicized, i.e., it means thyself. You take belie, i.e., make a compound word, belie, believe, lie to yourself. Don't believe a damn thing. Know what you know, don't know what you don't know. Build upon that what you know and study that what you don't know. And you'll understand principles and you can navigate these waters as a Moor, which is a spiritual entity having a human experience. Trying to get the hell off this rock. All these things are inconsequential. They're important, really don't matter in the long run.
And the last question we got for you, then we're gonna take a couple questions from the audience before we get out of here. We got about 10 minutes. The last question we got for you, and we're gonna go just ask this one right here. What is a passport? And you already think you covered the list a little bit, but what is a passport and why can't we get back into America without that passport if we free people? Or is life for liberty like they tell us in America?
Passport is an implement of commerce. It is permission to pass a port. You never left home. What is you going through a port? How does it apply to you? What is this jurisdiction? How does it apply to status? Same principles, every question. You can't get back in because you used a passport. And they don't want to accept your commodity, your baggage, or whatever else, because you are disrupting their construct, their governmental construct. All you need is a treaty of friendship, peace, and traveling on the land. But you got to know how to stand on that, and you got to know who to contact and serve notice before you leave and before you return. But a passport is permission by the government, which is operating under the economic system, which is operating under unum sanctum of the Pope of Rome, Queen of England, the United States military arm, father, son, and daughter, that they regulate everything you do, and you don't belong there. Why are you carrying a passport? You got a treaty. The treaty existed before the port existed. And the port is yours. You're more. All 7 continents, all 7 seas are yours by birthright. You're just traveling on the land. Passport is a complicated construct, but it is something that all you need is a treaty. You don't need a passport. But how can I put it? I'm giving a lot of information that is kind of like college level to 5th graders. One thing we need to be aware of is don't go fight battles unprepared. You may know something and learn something, but if you're going to go fight a battle like cross lines without a passport, you need to really study, and you need to sit down with some elders and go over the process and go over strategies before you go out there and do that. Because what you can do is create legal precedent that is against the uplifting of humanity and the restoration of the Moorish nation. You don't want to make bad waves. You want to be able to move forward. But a lot of us have to learn by the school of hard knocks. But you don't just run out there and do something. The treaty will get you anywhere you want to go because you're traveling on the land. Don't need a passport. That's permission to do what you can't do on the land without someone's permission. You're a sovereign member of society of the Moorish nations. Whose permission do you need to travel? Passport.
Okay. So, hey, that was the last question. Really, we ain't gonna ask them other 2 questions. We're gonna, because we got like 6 minutes. Hey, if somebody want to ask a question in the chat, go on, drop it, man. We got about 6 minutes. We're about to get ready to get up out of here. What you got for us? What you got for us? Drop it in the chat. This right here is going in the archives, so you can go back and listen to all the questions and then do your own research on it, so you can step your game up and so you can have more knowledge, more power, more knowledge, right? More science.
There it is.
You know what I'm saying? Be recognized and proclaim your nationality. All right, shout out James Bay. He said, be recognized and proclaim your nationality. Could he explain ecclesiastic depose? That's how you say it. Could he explain ecclesiastics depose? Do you know anything about that, Brother Simeon?
Ecclesiastic is a word I wanted to use earlier. A lot of times we're operating on the ecclesiastic law, which is in the Bible. Your Sadducees and Pharisees were the lawyers of the time, known as vipers and snakes by Yeshua, who they called Jesus, and that was his name. Ecclesiastic is a form of canon law, but I didn't understand the last word. What was the last word?
Polls, Polls, polls.
Ecclesiastic polls.
Depose, the ecclesiastic depose. Am I saying that right, James Bay?
Ecclesiastic depose. I do not comprehend what depose means. I have to.
I'm gonna look that up, man. I'm gonna write that down. I don't know what that is neither. I'm gonna look that up, brother James. Shout out, brother James. I got another question. With another question, we got a couple more minutes. What is the benefits of becoming a sovereign citizen?
You don't become a sovereign citizen.
Okay. Yeah, right. It's right. That's right. Go ahead.
Are a sovereign citizen, or you're not aware that you're a sovereign citizen. It is the benefit is you know thyself, you are thyself, you have proper standing in law, you can navigate this planet in peace, love, truth, justice, with honor. You can be yourself, because everything else is a fiction and a lie. But it's kind of like being a well-groomed tree. You're going to get pruned. You're going to get clipped. You're going to get groomed. You be tight when you're done. It is to your benefit to ascend to the next level of your spirituality, which will go far beyond this physical experience of humanity.
All right, we're gonna take one more question for you, brother Simeon. We got about 3 minutes. We're gonna take one more question. Let's see what they got. Let's find a heavy duty one, y'all. Brother Simeon, they put in some work. If you want to show him some love, we drop it his Cash App in the links. The last question we're gonna take for you, brother Simeon. Okay, it says okay, go back. Can we? Yeah, hey, if you want to get the 8 books, man, we still got the 8 books for $50 donation. You send a $50 donation, leave emails in the link, we'll send you the 8 books to your email. Let's see, we got one more question. I was on because I don't see nobody else. Okay, that's his last question. Why should we start back wearing our fez, and can we wear our fez in the court and in these different venues?
I don't know. Nah. The fez is a national headdress. It represents the womb. It has 4 sections on the top with several holes in it. It has the tassel. You need to study the fez and understand why it's a national headdress. And if you don't understand why, you shouldn't wear it. The turban is a national headdress. I don't know as much about it, but it also represents nobility. And it scares the hell out of white people. Except they're not white. They Caucasians, and they the front men for the system of the dirty Moors. But it is your national headdress. It is your culture. It shows unity of culture. It also honors the mother because it is representing the womb. And when you honor mama, you honor life. You are a Mason, a mother's son, or you are a mother. Even if you don't produce your own offspring, you are still putting out vibrations that produce life on this planet. So those things represent the Mason, the mother, son, not the occults or hidden clubs or the religion, but the true nature of who you are. Gives honor to that. It also shows unity. But those things will pass away as well.
And yeah, to somebody comment in the chat. Yeah, the feathers, like we got the feathers, and then we got the fez. That's both of our headdresses. The war bandit, that's 2 different. You're talking about the L's and the bays, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And no one asked about the feathers, but the feathers are basically, in many ways, the feathers are more congruent with America's And the feds is more congruent with what we call Africa, Europe, or Iberian Peninsula, etc. There's a little more fez wearing over there, but fez were worn on both sides. There were more feathers here. They use flags on that side. We use totem poles here. It's just different aspects of our culture. We are a diverse people of many colors. You pick up a handful of dirt, you get every color of sand in there, and you got every diversity of culture among our people, but we are still one people by sanguinity or by blood. And we are the indigenous people natural to the earth. And when you get into the serious sciences of creation, you find out why that's important and how that really works compared to other entities that are silica based, I think. Not silica, I forget. We are carbon based, and there's a bunch of humans that are not carbon based, but that doesn't make them less human. And you still treat a human like a human, regardless of who they actually are. So your integrity stays strong. So we're a little overboard on that one, but I hope I answered the question.
Oh no, you went right in. That was the last question, man. We're about to get ready to get up out of here. We over time now. But we want to thank you for coming out with us, Simeon, man. This is right here is real educational. We had this right here really was civics. You talked civics, man, for us today. You just gave us a lot of civics. And that was a lot of questions. And the people can, like I said, they can go back and check out part 1 and part 2 and go over the questions yourself. Look up, get books on these questions and these topics. Understand what the hell is going on so we can have this side of the fence. I know people say, fuck the paperwork. We don't got to deal with paperwork. Their system is going down. It's a wrap. It's an end. We don't got to do none of this shit. But just to have it, just in case. We got it we want it just in case. We want to cover all of the I's and T's. We the baddest on the planet. We the most sophisticated people on the planet. We got to cover all the dots. So we'll have this and we'll have both sides. Go ahead, brother.
Application, comprehensive. You want to hit them. There was a movie years ago. I can't think of the name of it at the moment. It's a military movie. The guy that plays Frazier was in it. And in the movie, he had to fight a battle in court. He was like, give me the book. We're going to hit him with vicious paper cuts. You hit them with everything you can at every angle, just like they do in you. The purpose of the paperwork is to shut down the bond, to shut down their economic system, to shut down their currency, their vampire sucking of your energy so you can establish your own nation and save humanity. That's the purpose of the paperwork. It's also to teach you the principles of law, which you're going to need later. Do the paperwork, serve notice to people, but don't worry about capturing a straw man. Don't worry about trying to get no money. You're just trying to shut down that Sesquiu V Trust bond so that they can no longer trade it on the stock market. The corporation operates under the guise of money, securities. Shut the securities down. That's the purpose of the paperwork, along with learning the principles of law. You need to practice it. It's like doing push-ups and sit-ups before they let you go out and run on the track. You gotta do your calisthenics.
All right, we about to get up out of here, man. We might come back with a part 3 later when we get some more questions. I'm gonna take some of these questions down in the chat, and we can make a whole book out of this called Question and Answer with Simeon. You know what I'm saying? You know, so because this right here, then we can go do more research with other people say add that to the book to make it more, you know, where we could pretty much cover that whole question, and this is gonna help people out, man. So we about to get ready to get up out of here, man. Y'all get the gang. The Ride By Boys was in the building, man. You know, it was so we're gonna get y'all have a peaceful shout hour. We say Islam to my Moors. We say Hotep. We say Shalom Aleichem. We say Assalamu Alaikum. We say Ashug, divine love throughout the village, boundless universe to all. Wadu.